Season 3 of Legend of Korra. Honestly, it was a shot in the arm in comparison to the absolute mess that was Season 2. The Red Lotus offer up an interesting turn in Korra's story and the world at large. This is the group that brought down the Earth Kingdom and damn near ended the Avatar cycle permanently. Korra getting pushed to her physical and mental limits just to survive. Not even win, just survive. There is something to this arc, a lot of interesting questions that get brought up, and honestly, a very interesting payoff to all of this going into its final season. And today on the RetroView, I want to take a look back at the season that broke the Avatar.
Change can be good or bad.
Next Friday, change is coming.
It's the dawning of a new age. The end of the Avatar.
The reason I say this is the season that broke Korra, it's not just because of the poisoning, it's everything building up to that moment. Because since opening the spirit portals, Korra has been left questioning whether or not she made the right choice. Because spirit vines are all over the place, overrunning the city, leaving people homeless and infrastructure destroyed. Humans and spirits are struggling to cooperate as per expected. However, with the emergence of the new airbenders, there's some confirmation that she made the right choice. Because now the Avatar is accomplishing their main purpose, bringing balance to the world. Now, Korra has an opportunity to help bring back a nation that was on the brink of extinction. Now she has an actual goal to work towards. People are lost, scared, and confused, and they need the Avatar's guidance. And I've alluded to this in past episodes of the RetroView, but this is really when we start seeing a gentler side of Korra. We finally have seen her grow, because still she does not know what she's doing. She's being a lot more self-reflective, considering her options, even meditating on them, something that she has previously outright said she has hated doing. Now we have seen her fully weighing all of her options on the world and listening to others, considering their inputs on everything. She knows she's not always in the right, and she is looking for advice from everybody that she can get, because this is a very complicated situation, and she knows that she needs all the help that she can get going into it. And yeah, she's still a bit cocky and hot-headed, but she is starting to slowly mature and grow past all of that. She's making it a point to listen to her enemies and try and figure out what Zahir's motive is, rather than just rushing in there guns blazing like she previously would have done. This version of Korra is starting to grow up, but in spite of all of her growth, she is still a very green Avatar. She still has no idea what she's doing and no idea how to fully handle complex situations like these. And this is the central conflict throughout the vast majority of this season. She does not know how to properly handle the spirits and humans not being able to cooperate. She does not know how to fully handle the Earth Queen force conscripting her own citizens into the military, aside from just bursting in and possibly causing an international incident. And when faced with Zahir's ideological arguments and legitimate grievances against people like the Earth Queen and President Raiko, she doesn't have a counter for his arguments. She agrees with his sentiment, but she can't dismantle his arguments outside of just, oh, killing is wrong. She's just not equipped to handle these situations, and it shows. She is still a green Avatar. And when the situation becomes more and more dire and escalates with the airbenders being threatened, she has no other option but to surrender herself, walking into a trap and nearly losing her life as a consequence. And by the end, she's not even the one that beats Zahir. Because of the poisoning, she's pretty much just out of it. She can't beat him ideologically, and she can't beat him physically. The airbenders are the ones that had to save her. After all of her sacrifices, after fighting as hard as she possibly could, she still couldn't save anybody. She couldn't protect anybody. She is the Avatar. She's the strongest person in the world. And yet here she is lying in a wheelchair, right after damn near dying at the hands of a madman, being told by the airbenders that they will handle her duties from here on out. That single tear dropping from her face, saying more than any line of dialogue ever possibly could. Her entire life, all she wanted was to be the Avatar. She wanted to go out there and be the Avatar and save the world. But when confronted with the realities of the situation, that the world is not black and white, she's beginning to crumble under the pressure. She can't find any solutions to these problems, and she has not effectively beaten any of her villains. She's constantly had to be saved, and here she is in the worst state she has ever been in. After everything she has been through, after losing her bending, losing her connection to the previous avatars, and now damn near losing her life, she's just crumbled under the pressure. She's finally broken. And that's such an interesting point to leave Korra on going into the next season, because now she knows what it means to suffer. She understands the sacrifices that go into being the Avatar. Now she truly understands what the job entails, and now she's got to build herself back up. She's got to find that fire, she's got to find that sense of purpose, and she's got to find that drive that she had in season 1. But with the maturity that she's now grown to acquire throughout the series.
Attention citizens of Ba Sing Se. Moments ago, the Earth Queen was brought down at the hands of revolutionaries, including myself. It's time for you to find your own path. No longer will you be oppressed by tyrants. From now on, you are free. I deliver Ba Sing Se back into the hands of the people.
The creation of the new world must require the destruction of the old. The Red Lotus stand for toppling the social order that they argue has brought nothing but restriction and exploitation. Zahir preaches that humans' natural state is freedom. Freedom from societal obligations and restrictions. Man's obligation only should be to themselves and those that they care about. Zahir admires air nomad culture, philosophy, and its societal structure, especially the teachings of Guru Lahima, who preached that societal structure should not be the thing that drives a person's motivation. Instinct alone should be the sole driving factor of humanity. Guru Lahima and Zahir follow a sort of East Asian principle of anarchism, the view that human nature is inherently good, but has been corrupted due to governmental structure and societal competition. Because of capitalism's inherent competitive nature and the inherent hierarchical system of societal structures, we are put in a situation where we have to fight against each other in order to survive. This going against our very natural way of sharing resources for mutual benefit. But while Lahima follows a more pacifistic route in line with airbender detachment, Zahir, who was not raised under airbending teachings, follows a more radical stance. In order to return the world to a state of freedom, he believes the foundations of the current system must be toppled down. But why go after the Avatar? Well, that's because throughout the series we have seen that the Avatar acts as just as much an authoritative figure as any of the world's monarchies have. It was Avatar 1's sole decision to separate the human and spirit worlds in the first place. The Avatar will often support heads of state and their positions of authority. Take Zuko and Aang's relationship in Last Airbender. More often than not, they help each other enforce this idea of a status quo. So, in effect, the Avatar is no different than the Earth Queen. Power left unchecked with free reign and authority to do whatever the hell they want and force others to follow. So, Korra's just another pillar that needs to go down. But what I find the most interesting part of Zahir and his philosophy is its inherent hypocrisy. He despises rulers and feels that no singular person should have authority over the fate of humanity. Yet here he is putting his own interpretations of human nature above everyone else. His entire plan was to overthrow the world governments and establish a new world order, bringing everything back to chaos and freedom. That's his sole authority to do so, and his position as an enlightened individual who can bring about that revolution. He's putting himself above everyone else and making that decision for everyone else. As much as he preaches about respecting air nomad culture, he certainly does not follow a lot of the tenets of it, especially the pacifist route of it. And here he is attempting to wipe out the last of the air nomads, something that he himself has criticized Fire Lord Sozin for doing. He is doing the exact same thing the Fire Nation has done centuries earlier, or at least he's threatening to do so. Because he was not raised in the air nomad culture like Tenzin and Aang were, he does not understand that true philosophy within it. He has his own mutual understanding of it, but it's not true air nomad culture, and I find that so interesting, especially in regards to his own personal outlooks on life and the way he carries himself as a sort of philosopher revolutionary. It's interesting. I was somebody who used to shit on the Red Lotus ideologically, because plain and simple, their entire plan was psychotic. And as we see, like 5 seconds after it starts, their entire plan leads to power vacuums, and eventually, despots always fill that void, as we see in the next season. But I'm not going to argue whether or not that was the show's intent or not. I'm just looking at Zahir's ideology as a whole, which is honestly portrayed well. It just lacks a true follow-up and falls rather flat towards the end of it, where he just becomes, yeah, I'm preaching about chaos, rather than establishing, okay, what is your actual goal? How are you establishing a free world after all of this is said and done? Because you guys kind of just leave the Earth Kingdom to its devices and then are surprised when a tyrant takes over from the chaos. But Zahir and the Red Lotus as antagonists honestly offer up a unique and interesting outlook and conversation that fits perfectly into the groundwork laid throughout the Avatar series. There was always a revolution about to happen in Ba Sing Se, as I pointed out in this video over here, go check that out. And I stand by this. I would love to see a Tales of the Jedi style anthology series about the Red Lotus's origin and their split from the White Lotus. Because the thing that makes the Red Lotus to me is their entire dynamic with each other. These feel like a group of confidants. They feel like comrades in arms. There is a whole history between these people. There is a lot between Zahir and Pali alone that I would love to see explore. There is a sense of brotherhood between Zahir and Ghazan. I would love to have seen how this group of misfits came together and how Zahir came to the conclusion that he did. I will take whatever I can get, Nickelodeon. Just fucking feed me!
You started a new age, Korra. There's no going back to the past.
I should be able to fix this. I'm the Avatar.
The Legend of Korra. The new season begins with a special premiere event next Friday at 7 on Nickelodeon.
Season 3 honestly feels like a turning point for Korra, not just as a series, but also her as a character. It dug itself back up from the depths of Season 2 and is finally able to build up a proper story going into its final season. Showing Korra is slowly growing as a person, but setting up her downward spiral that she's got to overcome and reach her final form as a fully realized avatar. This is the Empire Strikes Back or Dark Knight of the Korra story. This is the part where we break her. This is where we push her to her limits, leave the world in an uncertain position that now we have to see everybody work through this and for our main character to reach her final form and full maturity. This is what I cannot wait to see moving forward. And as much as I prefer Amon as an antagonist, I see why people consider Zahir and the Red Lotus to be the absolute peak of Avatar villains. Season 3 works as this final tipping point that breaks the Avatar. It is now leading to an eventual revival. Much like Aang went through at the end of Season 3 in Last Airbender, this is where everything finally comes together. And I cannot wait, not just for the finale of this series, but for the finale of this RetroView as a whole. Because Korra now has an opportunity. Now, this is her time to rebuild and remind the world what it truly means to be the Avatar. I hope y'all enjoyed the video today, folks, and I know y'all did because the bulk of y'all love Season 3 of Korra. Me personally, it's still my second favorite arc. I'm sorry, I love Amon way too much, but I will not apologize for that. But if this seems like the type of shit that y'all might like, be sure to hit that like button, hit that comment section down below, and let me know why I'm wrong and why this Red Lotus is honestly peak. What is your favorite parts of the Red Lotus? And hit that subscribe button so y'all don't miss the finale of this RetroView going into Season 4 in Kuvira. But that's a story for another day, and for now, I must bid you all adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. Good night. Sage out.